right, so in this video, I'm going to cover, we're still in Unit 1 of Intermediate CAD, and I'm going to cover the handling non-graphical objects, and I'm also going to cover the field option, or what fields are. So I've pulled up the duplex project. The reason I've pulled this one up is it just has all kinds of, it's got line types, it's got blocks, it's got all kinds of stuff in here. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the rename command, and you can just type in rename. And these are all the different things that you can rename in here. So have you ever created a layer or a block and you were like, oh, I typed it wrong, or I have this, it has the wrong name to it. This rename command, you can go into anything and you can come in here and you can say 110 dash outlet. Maybe I needed it to just say 110 outlet. Without the dash in it. So it gives the old name, you type in the new name, and you type OK, and you've just renamed that block. So that's a great thing to be able to come in here and do. Layers are easy to rename in the layer manager, but other things are not quite as easy to rename. So especially blocks. You can rename line types, you can rename any materials, multi-leaders, tables, text styles. So like for whatever reason, there's a textile in this drawing called Jeff. I have no idea who Jeff is, but let's say, you know what, Jeff, I want you to be Ashley. That's fine. So now when I look at my textiles, it's Ashley instead of Jeff. So it's just an easy command. You just type in rename, but you can rename all of these different objects. Dimension styles, all types of stuff. Views, remember how we made views on Monday? If you accidentally had typed in, east UCS and you meant to type in east elevation, you could rename your view right there. So that rename command, it's an easy one to use. It's kind of cool to know about. Again, kind of like the stuff we learned on Monday, you can totally live without it, but it's cool to know about that. It's an easy way to go in and rename, especially blocks, because there's no good way to go rename a block outside of this command. Another command that is available is purge. Awful name, I know it, but you just type in the word purge and it pulls this up. So with the purge command, what this allows you to do is get rid of objects in your drawing that you're not using. The purge command is not something that you want to do at the very beginning. The purge command is something you want to do at the very end of your project. Let's say you've got this project and you have a ton of layers, you used a template, or maybe you brought in somebody else's drawing into yours and you have a bunch of blocks that you don't need, you've got a bunch of layers that you don't need, you've got a bunch of text styles or dimension styles that you're not using at all. You can do this purge command and you can either individually purge, oh look, I have a layer called stars. So I'm apparently not using the layer called stars. So I could come in here and purge out that layer. It deletes that layer from my drawing. And so it's really helpful for that. You can only purge objects that you're not using. So if you have inserted a block and you are using that block, the drawing is using it, it will not even show up in this list. So this right up here, notice how it says view items you can purge. Down here, view items you cannot purge. So all of these items, all of these zillions and zillions of blocks are actually being used right now. So I'm not able to purge something that's being used. So when you're trying to get rid of a block, and this happens to me all the time, a block or a layer or something like that, if it's not showing up in the list, over here, there's no blocks that I can get rid of. There's nothing under there. If I'm trying to get rid of it, I have to go find where I'm using it in the drawing and delete it out, and then purge it. And where this comes in really, really handy is, let's say you have a door in your drawing and you're using it and it's not a good door, like something's wrong with your block. You found a good door block in another drawing and you want to bring that one in, but it has the same name as your door. So you're like, oh, I'm going to grab this good door and I'm going to bring it into my drawing. If it has the exact same name, your drawing says, oh, door. She wants to use a door block. I have one of those, and it inserts it. Even though you're bringing in a good one, it's going to keep inserting your bad one until you go into your drawing. You have to delete out that door block purge it so that it doesn't even exist in your drawing, and then when you bring in the new one, it brings in that new definition of it. So the purge command is definitely something you'll use in that way. So if you're using a block and it's just bad, but you have another one that you're bringing in from another drawing, if it has the same name, you need to purge out the existence of that first block, the bad block in your drawing, so that you can insert the good definition.
But you're only able to do that if you're not using that door.
Exactly. So you have to delete the bad door if you're using it at all. And so that can sometimes be the tricky part, is like, where is that door? I don't even know. So anyway, but a good thing to do at the end, just in general, once you know you're done with your drawing, your IT guys will appreciate this. Open up the drawing, whatever it is, and just do the purge command. And you have this option down here that says purge all. It says, are you sure you want to purge everything? We're going to purge. And you might have to do it a few times. Every once in a while, you'll have to click on purge all a few times. But what that does is it gets rid of all the stuff that you're not using, and it really condenses your file size. So your IT guys are going to like that, because you're taking up less room on their server. If you're not sitting here with a drawing that has 200 blocks that you're not using, and 100 layers that you're not using, and all these line types and text styles and dimension styles, all this stuff cluttering up your file, making it bigger and bigger, and you're not even using that stuff. You don't want to purge at the beginning of your drawing, because you're just getting started. So you have a bunch of layers and blocks and stuff that you haven't used yet. So you don't want to purge all at the beginning, because then you're back to square one. You have to recreate those layers and things. But at the end of your drawing, that purge command is a really, really great command to know about. Another thing is that we're going to talk about here is setting yourself as the author in the drawing properties. And how you do that, we're going to click on the file. We're going to come down here. So drawing properties is right above where it starts listing all of your recent files. Right above that, you'll see drawing properties. And then you can come over here to the summary tab, and this is where you can set yourself as the author. Oops. So you can set yourself as the author right there. Obviously, have I told y'all? I don't know if I've mentioned it. I am the Captiva, so y'all should have this. Anyway, so you can type whatever your name is. You set yourself as the author of the drawing, and you'll say okay. It won't look like anything happened here, but do you remember when we were talking about fields? When we get ready to make a field, there's an author field, and it's grabbing your information from that drawing properties where you set yourself as the author. If you haven't set yourself as the author yet, it's just going to have dashes in there. And so those dashes just mean, hey, it's cool. You just need to go set yourself as the author. It's good. You just got to take a moment and go set yourself as the author. So we're going to see that in just a little bit. There is a command that I discovered just about a month or two ago, and because I was trying to do this purge thing, and it was not letting me purge this one layer, and I was like, I have looked everywhere. I'm not using this layer. It's not embedded inside of a block. I looked everywhere that I could possibly look, and for whatever reason, AutoCAD thought I was using this layer, and I know I wasn't using this layer. I've looked all over, and I needed this layer to be gone. We were making templates for the new book for 1405, and I didn't want this layer. And so I Googled it, and I found this new command. It's not new, it's new to me, but it's called Laydel.
How do you spell it?
Laydel, Laydel. And Laydel is layer delete. And it's a glorious command, but it's a terrifying command at the same time. So what Laydel does, you type in Laydel, press enter. Select an object on a layer to delete, or if it's like in my case, I didn't see it anywhere, I just knew it was there. Oh wait, that didn't work. Laydel, select an object on the layer to delete. And then I'm going to go down and say name, so it pulls up a list of all of the layers. I press my down arrow, by the way, to get that name. Let's do something that you're going to see. This is really awful, like don't do this. Walls, do y'all see? I was going to do dimensions. Do y'all see dimensions? All right, let's delete doors. Notes, plumbing, rod, text. Oh, let's do walls. That's crazy. We're going to do walls, so you'll definitely be able to tell. It's terrifying because what it's going to do is it's going to delete the walls layer and it's going to delete anything that was drawn on the walls layer. So, careful, don't use this. Make sure that you really want to delete this layer because it's going to delete the stuff that's actually drawn on that layer with it. But if you're in a case where I was, where I'm like, I need to purge it, I'm not using this. I know I'm not using this anywhere. I just need it gone. Laydell was amazing. So let's say, okay. Hey, and it says, are you sure everything is going to get deleted? I'm going to say, delete the layer. My walls are gone because my walls were drawn on the Laydell layer. So you definitely would not want to do it in this particular case. You want to keep your walls, but if you do have something where you just need to get rid of that layer and you know you're not using it, or if you are using it, it's not anything important. Laydell was a really sweet command to learn about. So y'all are the first class I've ever told about that. You're welcome. Anyway, let me undo that. I don't want to make that change. But anyway, so do you guys have questions? That was the non-graphical objects and talking about fields. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to insert fields. But so what those fields are is it's just grabbing information. So you can set a date field and it'll automatically plug in the date. And in our title block, we're going to set an author field. It'll automatically plug in our name if we're set as the author. Do you guys have questions? Okay.